Welcome back. Welcome back.
Hi.
Great Imposters podcast. We got a big guest.
Yes.
You've heard us talk about him. You've heard us talk to him. You've seen his work.
You've heard our odes to him in the form of burr, burr, burr.
You've seen his couch and his dog. Welcome to the Great Imposters podcast, our executive producer,
DJ DEX.
DJ DEX.
Yes.
And we are so excited to have you.
Co-host Luna just already betraying me.
She is.
Yeah.
And you are... It's weird because Declan has his own podcast, which I'm sure he'll talk about today, but he has never been a guest. So this is a first.
Did I miss that? You have never been a guest.
That's usually my spot. So now I feel like I'm in a
hot
whole
seat.
different world here now.
Whole different world.
Oh,
Yeah.
he's now okay. I thought for sure like you've been a guest on other.
I've done like one other. My buddy that lives in New York, New Jersey, runs like a DJ podcast, and I've been on his.
Okay.
But that's it.
Okay.
But otherwise, I'm usually the one doing the questions.
And not usually about things outside the DJ world, right?
Yeah, correct.
Yeah, you guys do your DJ DEX's podcast is called The Platform, and it's great. Even if you're not a DJ, there's great banter, and also the DJ world is just like very fascinating.
It's fascinating, and you keep it really like niche, which is cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, we do more. I like to center it around music, nightlife, sports, entertainment. So like I've had my buddy Travis that I used to live with that played for the New York Giants, played for the Wisconsin Badgers, Super Bowl champion. My buddy Alex Carrier that plays for the Nashville Predators. So like hockey players, football players, and then getting into artists here, obviously being centered in Nashville. That's something that I want to dive into a lot more is just the artist field here of people that are in bands, people that are singers, people that are songwriters, people that are producers, people that work A&R, and just seeing
What's
all
A&R?
the different fields that are in the music industry because there really is so much more. And then obviously from a DJ's perspective, there's a million different DJs that I can connect with and have on, and every DJ's got a different story.
For sure. Yeah. So I guess what you're saying is we'll never be a guest on your podcast. That's fine.
It could absolutely be.
I mean, maybe
you start doing makeup for one of these artists, and then talk about that field of like what it's like having to do work for these people for different sets. Like, it's crazy. Yeah.
Moving to Nashville has blown my mind at how expansive the music industry is.
Yeah.
Like when you're sitting in Seattle consuming music, you just assume like there's a singer, there's a manager, there's a holy cow. Like it is the niche ways in which it employs people in this city is fascinating.
Fascinating.
Yeah.
Like it has blown my mind wide open. Like it's got to be one of the largest industries in the country.
Yeah,
it's
I
crazy.
mean, and the money to be made off of it, if you can find your niche, like the people that are just crazy talented songwriters. There we go. Now she's coming.
Luna has gone back to her dad.
God, these women are yelling again.
But yeah, the people that are just like crazy talented songwriters. I mean, if you're that good at writing songs, where you're writing songs for a Morgan Wallen on every album that ends up going triple platinum, you're making money off of doing that, and you're just behind the scenes. Like
totally.
I feel like the majority of people don't know the people that are writing these artists' songs.
Right.
But then they're just making bank off of it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, we're going to get into it. We're going to do a lot. We're going to, of course, this is the Great Imposters podcast, so we're going to relate everything back to imposter syndrome. And Declan has, like, we've been working with him since episode, I think 7, right?
Yeah.
Something like that. So about half of our podcast episodes, we've been working with Declan, and I met Declan through 2 of my friends who are also podcasters. So that is just kind of the origin story there, and he's become a fast friend. Now, we do want to ask you though, and this is going to be, please be brutally honest.
These are our icebreakers.
We have 2 icebreakers for you.
These are what you guys wouldn't tell me, huh?
Yeah, we were whispering behind your back. Declan, what was your first impression of me and Annie?
Just outgoing. I feel like you guys are like lively people that are spicy.
Spicy.
I love that.
Spicy.
Yeah.
Spicy. I thought you were going to say we were insane.
No.
Okay.
I know a lot of insane people.
Yeah.
You guys aren't there yet.
We're not there yet.
Yeah.
But we were
You
like
got some work to do.
we weren't sure. Declan's like this nice boy from Milwaukee, and I wasn't really sure. And he has a long-term girlfriend. They live together. But we're like these two kind of like crazy moms that like have this kind of really type A, like both like salespeople with like this big like look at me energy.
Yeah.
So
main character is that main character energy?
I guess you could say that.
Yeah. And
But,
Declan is like Midwestern to the point where main character energy would probably make him vomit.
yeah. But
No, because I like to think I'm a very, very outgoing person.
Yeah.
You are.
I'm always like a person that typically is a life of a party.
yes. Well, yeah.
which-
Considering you're the one DJing them. Yeah.
So
Okay,
But
you're
but
right.
I feel like just in demeanor, like Annie and I
Yeah.
start with you here. Like we don't come in soft, we come in hot.
Yeah.
So we appreciate that you didn't immediately like think, wow, these
Just
bitches
run
are
away.
fucking crazy.
All right, did you enjoy listening to the first episode you produced? Were you like, I
Well,
could
yeah,
do
'cause
this?
Well, the first
It was Chris
episode,
Coolest.
Yeah.
which was awesome. I mean, the first episode that I got to sit in on was you guys sitting down with Chris Coolest, who's the drummer from OAR. If people did not listen to that, it was an awesome episode. Just picking his brain, and that's somebody who I sat there and listened to it and enjoyed it because musically, it was entertaining to me. Just being able to hear all the stories that he had, it was awesome. And it was somebody where I was like, fuck, I want to have him on mine.
Yeah.
Yesterday, like he just posted somewhere he was with DJ Premier, who's one of the most legendary DJs of all
really?
time. And I messaged him. I was like, fuck. I'm like, this is awesome.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I'm like, man, I want to get him on too.
Yeah.
Well,
I'm
and
gonna have
also
to
I
contact
love
him.
that. So I love that we can kind of connect you as well. And like you're helping us. We're all helping each other. It's
Wait,
been
wait. But then, so did you feel totally catfished when like the second episode was about like anxiety?
No, because it's just like, I mean, that's how versatile the podcast world is.
Yeah.
Where it's like, even the other episodes that you guys have recorded, I mean, it's something that you guys are going to find your following and like what you guys want to brand your show around. And I feel like you guys have found a good kind of categories that you guys want to get into. And then just what you guys are doing with engaging with the followers too, that we've talked about like off of camera too, is going to be something that's going to hopefully make the show a lot more popular.
Thank you. Thanks. I will say, like, after the Chris episode, like, obviously that was a big one because he's a musician, and I know that was exciting, like, from your standpoint, because you had personal interest in him as a musician. But then when we did, like, the anxiety episode, I will say, like, your engagement with it, and, like, Declan doesn't just, like, turn the camera on and he takes notes, he's giving us feedback, like, so we really appreciate that from you because, I mean, he's a 32-year-old, like, kind of simple guy, just kind of, and we're like these highly complicated women, and he's in it with us. So we love Declan, and we're so glad we found
beautiful,
him.
really, as you outline it like
this
that.
is a lovely friendship.
Yeah. And we have this big screen that we look at sometimes, and like Dex will write us notes on there, or like when I'm like, having one of my mini strokes because I can't remember something, he'll look it up for us.
Yes.
It's pretty cool.
It's also nice that when we see him laughing at us, we're like, okay, this is good.
Yeah, because we're both
We have,
like
real-time
we need
feedback.
that. Yeah, we need that real-time feedback.
So, all right, love that. Glad that you didn't think we were psychotic. Next, this is just a random one we thought of, and I feel like men don't really answer this question. Do you know what your love language is?
Probably food.
No, like of the 5.
How do you know
I
about
don't
the
know
5?
no.
Oh, okay. So it's like,
has Maddie ever? His girlfriend's name is Maddie. Has she ever tried to get you to like read about the 5 love languages?
She said her love language. We actually just talked about this the other day, where I don't know if this is the same thing.
Okay.
But she's like, her love language is like cleaning. Like if I were to
acts
clean,
of service.
Acts of service.
That's mine.
So like if I were to come, or if she were to come home and like the whole house was clean.
Yep.
That's something where she would be like,
Like melt.
yeah.
I'm the same way. All right, so here are the 5. Ready? Receiving gifts, acts of service, quality time. That's the one we
Quality
missed.
time.
Words of affirmation and physical touch.
Okay.
I've never met someone whose is quality time. Where are my
I know.
quality time people?
No, I've met people.
I
You
bet that
have?
would be like Maddie's second.
You
Okay.
think? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, what do you think yours are?
I don't.
Declan is
I
so
would think,
simple.
like-
I feel like he's like, I don't fucking
Yeah,
care.
I'm
It's
It's like he's like, I believe you love me.
Like I'm not a gift guy.
okay.
Okay.
Like I feel like picking gifts for like a birthday or Christmas is the hardest thing because I'm not.
You're like I don't want anything.
Yeah, I'm not like a materialistic person that really
do you
needs
like
anything.
receiving gifts? If you were
Yeah.
to,
That's what
I mean,
he
if
means.
they're-
Like he doesn't want to tell people. Like he's
Yeah.
saying, like
Okay.
I don't know what to tell people that I want.
Like if somebody got me
Oh,
a gift, I'd be
okay.
like, oh sweet, this is awesome. But like don't really know of anything that I like need as a gift.
Okay.
And it doesn't like make you feel a certain way. It doesn't like tickle you when someone gives you a gift.
Like if somebody got me like new clothes and outfits and stuff, I'd be like, oh, hell yeah, this is sweet. Because it's something that I would then be able to utilize
Okay.
all the time.
All right. So it's not gifts.
Yeah.
Yours is probably quality time.
I bet I would probably put it there. Yeah.
Okay.
Like positive affirmations, I don't really need.
Words of
I don't
no.
really-
Wow.
Yeah.
What's that like?
Yeah. I'm like,
You must have so much time.
I just don't care. Like, I don't care what anybody says about me. Like,
Yeah.
I don't get affected
Wow.
by other people and like what they
So when I
say.
just gave you that massive compliment, did
No,
that
like
do
that-
it? But did that do anything
yeah,
for you?
it's nice. Yeah.
It's nice.
But like on the other end of the spectrum, if people are talking shit about me,
You just don't care.
I'm like, I don't even, you don't affect my life.
Guys, be more like Declan.
God, yeah, that's amazing.
Unbelievable. So we're going to start with, Declan actually likes this segment. He gave us some good feedback on it. We don't do it every week, but we're going to do it this week, is our imposter syndrome moment of the week. So each of us, including Declan, are going to give some way that imposter syndrome affected us like in the present. So like just kind of to keep us all on theme here. I'm going to start it off. So I haven't told Annie this yet.
Oh.
Because I was waiting to.
Breaking news.
I was invited to my first influencer event.
Ooh.
And I'm in shock.
Okay.
So I have a unique position where I don't necessarily have an agency, but I do work with an agency because I also like worked for them. This is the same friends that introduced me and Declan.
Oh,
Okay.
okay.
And I'll shout her out, my friend Megan, who is like the VP of talent at this company. She kind of keeps me, like, we're really good friends, but she also like keeps me top of mind when it comes to, if she talks to a brand that's looking at like bigger like beauty influencers, she'll always like throw my name in, which is awesome. Yeah.
Wow.
She is awesome.
Amazing.
And I guess like I might be on their roster somewhere in the beauty category.
Okay.
Just like being in there in the mix so that I have visibility. But she goes, would you want to go to this influencer event at the end of March? And I was like, I was like, is it like an open house or was I invited? And she was like, no, you were invited. Wow. And I was like, what do you mean? Like, I was like, did you ask them if I could be invited? Like this was where my imposter syndrome was coming out, because I don't think I have a big enough following to be invited to an influencer event. And then she forwarded me the email. And she showed me the email from the brand that said, here's who we want from your roster to be invited. It was me and 3 famous people.
What?
It was like me and then 3 people who are all household names.
Wow.
I know. And then she goes, and they were like, Megan was pumping me up. She's like, and like, we had plenty of other people they didn't invite.
Wow.
So I was like, I feel like me keeping, like, she had to prove it to me.
Yeah.
But it was such a milestone because it was such validation that a brand like is interested in me enough to like invite me to something like that.
That's amazing.
Thank you.
Oh my God.
And now I need to work on, there's going to be people to network with there, and I'm going to have to work on how I introduce myself, because one of my biggest imposter syndromes, and our friend Jade always corrects me on this, where I'll be like, people are like, what do you do, Joelle? And then I freeze up because I'm like, well, I sell software, but then I also have a social media and I co-host a podcast, and she'll go, shut up, she's a beauty influencer. Like, she just like makes me own it,
she's
kind
good
of.
at that. Yeah.
You got to be more assertive with your label.
Yes.
Yes.
And maybe we'll workshop that after this. So anyway, because I don't want to be like, because I am proud of my career though. Like, I love my actual like job.
Yeah.
But in that setting, that's not what's
Right.
That's not what they're like. Oh, okay.
So are you here to sell a software?
Right.
Yeah,
Exactly. Yeah.
I think it's funny that's like, I am kind of hearing obviously past episodes and everything too, and a lot of people that have been on the show where it's like, that's what people jump to is like automatically assuming that they just don't belong, and then having to get some sort of validation of like, why am I being invited? Like you're like, think that you were wrongfully invited to it, and then you're immediately asking her and be like, no, like this must be a mistake. What did you do?
Or it must
this?
be an open invite.
Yeah.
That's what I was like. It has to be. It's also at Soho House, so I'm like, I'm a member there, so I thought maybe it was just like like it was just. I was like, oh, anyone at Soho House can go. No, it's an actual invite only beauty influencer event.
Wow.
Yeah, like instead of being like proud of yourself for
you're
getting an invite, you're like looking for reasons for you to not be invited.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
So anyway, that's that. I was definitely the highlight of my week, I'll say.
That's
Holy
awesome.
Thanks,
crap. I
guys.
can't believe you were able to keep that from me. That's so exciting.
I know. I wanted to tell you live on the podcast.
Wow. Oh my God.
Get real-time reaction. Then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
True.
I'm starstruck already.
Stop. I'll remember you when I'm.
Remember me. That's amazing. I'm so excited for you.
Thank you.
I want you to take me in your pocket.
I will.
Okay, mine. That's so Dex. You articulated it so beautifully because I did the exact same thing in my imposter moment. Mine's a little lesser scale, but my daughter goes to a public elementary school here in Nashville, and she is in the like aftercare program. Which actually there's a lot to unpack there because we enrolled her in the aftercare program when I was like working full time at my tech job. And then we were waitlisted because it's like really hard. It's not competitive to get in. There's just a lot of kids that they need to fit into it. And so they were like, she's not in for the beginning of the year. And that actually played into my decision to leave in the manner that I left my last job. I was like, well, she doesn't have any care. We don't have any family here. So like, I'm going to have to go pick her up at 3 every day. Like this, if that was actually kind of a nail in the coffin of the decision for me to take some time off. And so then she eventually got into it and I was like, oh, that's awesome. And then I had all this guilt. So this is a double factor imposter situation. I had all this imposter thing of like, well, I shouldn't let her take that spot because there's someone else that needs it and is working. And then my husband and I and some friends too were like, first of all, you are going to work again. Second of all, you are working in that like you're doing this podcast, you're doing this activism, you're doing all of these things. Like you're doing work. You have 2 other small children that are a job, like you have, earned this spot and that you waited appropriately on the wait list.
Yeah.
So take it. And so,
I would have given you that same advice.
yes.
Yeah.
And so we did, but you know me, I was all like, but it's not fair. And then I was like, no, it is because it is fair. Like,
and just because you are working, like
Right.
just because you're not employed by like a Fortune 500 company like you
Yeah.
used to be, and like you report to a boss and you get a paycheck every 2 weeks, that doesn't mean you're not working.
right, right.
Like you are working. You're
Thank you.
pursuing dreams, and that's work.
Yes. And so then this aftercare program came up to me. One of the directors came up to me the other day when I went to go pick her up and was like, hey, Annie, we would love to have you on the board of Tiger Club. And I literally malfunctioned so hard. I was like, the board. I was like, what board? And they were like the board of directors. And then
You're
I
like
was
the
like,
bulletin board.
I literally was like the board. Oh, like what? Like what board? I'm like pointing to the walls.
What
and she's-
picture do you want me to bring?
Yeah, and he's like, no, like the board of directors. And I was like, me? And he was like, yeah. And I was like, I don't have a job.
That's the first thing you said?
That's the first fucking
Yeah.
thing I said. He's like, okay. He's like, yeah, well, okay. And I was like, well, I mean, I do. I just started word vomiting. I'm like, I left my corporate job, but now I'm like, I'm doing a podcast and I'm writing and I'm starting, a different career. And he's like, okay. He's literally just looking at me like, cool. Anyway, so yeah, we'd like to have you on the board. He's like, we're looking for, and then I just literally kept word vomiting. And I was like, me? And he was like, yes. And then I'm holding my youngest son, Cal, and he's like, I mean, it makes perfect sense to us. We wanted people that we interact with that are friendly, that have already like gotten to know some of the kids, that are, people that are good parents, which that's the greatest compliment.
Best compliment in the
you
world
can ever get.
Yeah.
And then he's like, and people that have like, a vested interest, like you have 2 more kids that are going to go to this school. Like you're in it for the long haul.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow. I just literally like couldn't even like look him in the eyes. I was just like, okay,
That's
cool.
so awesome.
Yeah. And then I haven't heard anything from them. So I've been self-deprecating that they changed their mind because they found out I didn't have a job. And so finally my husband was like, I'm just going to say something to the other director when I see her at pickup. And so he was like, oh, hey, so-and-so, Annie's so honored to be on the board. And she was like, oh yeah, we're so excited to have her. And then he came home and he's like, will you shut the fuck up now? And I was like, okay. But
That's
yeah.
amazing.
So that felt
I love
really good.
that. That's so
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah.
And that's really like validating in probably a way you didn't even know you needed or wanted. Yeah.
Totally.
I love that. Dex, you're up.
I have it, and I'm sure a lot of other DJs have it, and this is something that I experience all the time. Social media being like a huge factor for it, of not thinking that I am actually a good DJ at all.
Of course. Yeah, that's definition of imposter syndrome.
Yeah. And it's literally because I'll scroll through Instagram and I'll see a DJ do a routine of something and I'll just be like, fuck, that's so good.
Yeah.
And then think that because they're so good at it that it just makes me down to like level 1 of DJ.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's something that it's like, it's an every week thing. And then it's just like preparation for different sets. It's always something that you just end up like working harder for.
Yeah. How long have you been doing this?
I've been DJing for, it'd be like 7 years now.
Okay.
Since like 2017.
And you get booked, yes? Mm-hmm. I mean.
Yeah.
Well, and you did a challenging, it's interesting too, because I thought what you were going to say is you did a challenging or like out of the norm DJ set this week with the line dancing thing that you told us about.
Yeah, so I just had to play like after that, but even something like that is like.
Okay. But that's maybe a different crowd than you normally do it for or something. So yeah, I thought you were going to bring that up, but you're right. I imagine that when you're like constantly consuming content of people in your field, you get impostery all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And especially knowing like so many very, very good, talented DJs from cities all over the world. Like Milwaukee, I think, has some of the best DJs. And then obviously we're right next to Chicago, which Chicago's home to some of the best DJs in the world. And then just knowing a bunch of them from all over. It's like I follow all these super, super talented DJs. And then when they post stuff or like even post at venues where it's like, man, that's like a dream venue that I would love to play at.
Yeah.
And does that discourage you or does that inspire
Motivate you?
Inspire, for sure. Yeah. I'm the kind of person where like I see something like that and I'm like, that just means I have to work harder.
Yeah. Wow. Well, that's the correct way to go about something.
Yeah.
Like spite and jealousy does not get you any closer to your goals.
But I feel like at the same time, like I'll have gigs and like my buddy Darren that lives here, he's from Chicago, one of the best DJs that I know, can scratch like crazy, has a super deep song selection of every genre. And I feel like imposter a lot of the time where I'm booked somewhere and let's say like he doesn't get booked there. Where I'm like, why am I getting booked over him? Or like, how are these other people getting booked over him? Like, I'm like, realistically, he's a better DJ than I am.
Wow.
And I'll feel like self-conscious to a point where I'm like, he deserves this more than I do.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, we have a lot to unpack. Before we go any further with that, let's back up, ground ourselves in just like who you are. So give the audience your stats, like name, age, and just a little bit about you.
I am Declan O'Connell, also known as Dex.
DJ DEX.
DJ DEX in the podcast community and DJ community. I am from Milwaukee, Wisconsin. I moved here a little under a year and a half ago. But yeah, born and raised in Wisconsin.
You can hear it, everyone, right?
Yeah.
You can hear the Wisconsin.
I get it all the time. That's what I always like. People just look at my mouth.
Yeah.
And I can tell they're trying to like dissect how I'm saying stuff.
I did that to you.
No,
I
was immediately like two very close male friends from Milwaukee, and I just hear them when you talk.
Yes.
Like
Yeah.
My family's all from Chicago because you have like a southern Milwaukee accent, I guess. I
guess.
Or not southern Milwaukee, sorry, southern. It's Milwaukee versus the rest of Wisconsin.
I'm like, I
It's a
watch
little
the
different.
national news and I feel like they talk like me.
They
so
do.
I don't think that I have an accent, but
But you sound like all my family in Chicago.
Yeah.
And so I dissected you the
it's
first
comforting.
time. It's
Yeah.
comforting,
Yeah.
yes.
But yeah, I DJ. I started going to school once I moved out here. With Nashville having a lot of very prestigious music schools, I applied and got in since I never finished school when I was younger. And then, I figured obviously as a DJ, like I want to be able to, again, I'm inspired by these other people where I want to be able to up my level of being in the music industry, whether it's DJing, whether it's music production, and going to school is going to be one of the things that kind of takes me to the next level there.
Wait, tell us what's your degree is going to be in again?
Music business and music production.
Cool.
And then I have a minor in graphic design because obviously then I can use that to make flyers for myself and any other graphic design work for myself or other DJs. So, yeah.
And I also want to point out, Declan, you're 32, right? 32, and he just kind of brushed over this, but didn't go to college previously. Like
I
went and dropped out.
Dropped out. I did it twice, actually.
Okay, so now he's 32 and going to school for his actual purpose in life. and just know I want everyone to take from this, like, it's never too late.
Yeah, when I went out of high school, was going for a completely different thing. Mm-hmm. And then...
Can you share what it was?
Yeah, I was going for... When I was first out of high school, it was just for, like, econ, which, like, I didn't even know what that is.
That was my major.
Snooze fest.
Yeah.
That was your major?
I was an econ major.
Well,
I
like,
almost failed econ.
I literally did it because, like, I had friends and, like, family that did it, and they were just like, oh, it's like a simple major you can just use for whatever.
Which is true.
And then when I went back in Milwaukee, I went to UWM, I was going for computer science, which, like, I wanted to do, like, web design and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm. That sounds more on brand for you than econ.
And I liked it, and then I just hit a point where it was, like, one of the classes had nothing to do with it, and I just hated it, and I just, like, didn't do any of the work, and then I was just like, I'm dropping out. And now I'm to the point where it's, like, things are going right in life. I'm in the right, like, mental space where I'm like, okay, cool. I know what to do now. I know, like, what I want to go to school for. And then just, like, picking classes and everything. There's still classes that, like, right now I'm taking a chemistry class that I think is the dumbest thing ever.
You have to take it?
Mm-hmm.
That's annoying. That's kind of bullshit.
That's, like, the only part that I hate about school. I'm like, if I'm going for
where you're at is liberal arts, right?
Yeah.
So I also had to take chemistry.
Yeah.
Because I went
in
to
college?
Yeah, I had a liberal arts degree. Like,
So
if
did
you're
I, but...
No, I went to a liberal arts college.
Oh,
so if you go
okay.
to a liberal arts college, some of their curriculum is you have to take this science.
That's right.
So
Okay.
I took, like, nutrition and chemistry, and it brought my GPA down so much because I was a business major. I was an econ major.
Okay.
Like, it made I resent that about my college as well. But anyway.
I'm like, just give me the classes that I need for music production and graphic design and music business. Like, that's all you should have to take.
Yeah.
But,
So can you go back if you're comfortable divulging whatever you want, but you go to college at the traditional time that kids go to college, you drop out, then what do you do?
I went back and I lived with, like, a bunch of my friends.
In Milwaukee?
Yeah, for a while. And then
Were they all in college?
No.
Oh.
The majority of them weren't. They just, like, lived at home. And then I ended up at some point moving in with, like, my aunt and uncle in Illinois. And I was working in, like, Chicagoland area. Eventually stopped working there, moved back to Milwaukee, and lived in Milwaukee since then.
And you were just working?
Yeah, I was working. I, like, started getting in, like, the service industry, was bartending for a long time, shifted from bartending to DJing, just from, like, being in the nightclubs a lot and listening to the music. And then I had my good friend Travis that I used to live with DJ'd, and he taught me, like, everything there is that I know now about DJing.
That's awesome.
Wow.
And just, like, obviously I was always a big fan of music. Like, when we would have house parties and stuff, I was always the one controlling the music.
You had the aux.
Yeah.
Oh my God. How many
Dex had the
how
aux.
many
Yeah.
burned CDs did you make for girls growing
I
up?
used to make them all. I was a big, like, and that's why I thought it was funny, like, on Chris's episode when he's talking about, like, Napster.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh man, I used to download the shit out of stuff on, like, LimeWire,
Oh God, yeah.
and Napster, and Aries, and, like, just
All of
make
them.
CDs. I used to do the thing where you put it in, like, your, like, Walkman. And you could, like, hold the button that made the CD player think that it was shut, so the CD would spin, but, like, your case would be open. Oh. And you just take, like, a Sharpie or, like, a marker, so it would spin and make, like, all these cool little designs on it.
Oh
What?
my God.
That is the craziest foreshadowing
Yeah.
little thing.
So, like, the
don't you
CDs
think?
would have, like a tie-dye Sharpie color
Wow.
on it.
That's really cool.
But seriously, did you make like love ballad CDs for girls?
I don't know if I'd make, like, love ballad ones. I probably did.
You
but,
totally did.
But I would make, like, pump up, like, game mixes and stuff like that. Yeah.
Okay.
That's cool.
Okay.
Or just, like basically, like, what now
Yeah.
is. Like, I would do that. It's like all the hottest
now.
songs.
Oh
yeah.
my God.
Now that's what I call
Yeah.
music.
it'd
Now
be
that's
like,
what I call
that's what I
music.
call Dex. Like, and it's just like the top 20 songs. at
I
that
would
time.
love. Can you, like, resurface some of those, please?
Yeah, will you make? I think
us
you
some
should make us
playlists.
a great imposters playlist.
I remember I had,
That's a
like,
great
Now
idea.
One. It was like Hanson Brothers was on,
Yep.
like,
Dude.
Now One.
Such a
It
good
was the
CD.
best. It's like
Now they're
Hanson
on
and,
like
like, Smash Mouth.
Yeah.
Now they're on, like, 180
Yeah.
million.
Yes.
So.
And
Oh
I'm
my
sorry, but they're
gosh.
all great. Like I love them.
Yeah.
Like when someone has one and you get to listen, it's like they're time capsules.
Yeah.
They really are.
They are truly time
It
capsules.
was
my
literally
God,
just
you're
the
so
best
right.
songs of whatever it was when
Yeah.
they made it. So
Amazing.
yeah.
So going, I guess, good kind of time to ask you, like, when you were little DJ Dex, like, growing up in the schoolyard, did you, like, always have a musical part of you? Did you always want to be in the music industry, or what did you want to be back then?
I grew up. My dad is a huge music fanatic, so like I always grew up
really?
around music. Yeah, like this entire wall here would be a record shelf in my dad's apartment.
wow.
Like,
Oh, wow.
That's how big his goes from like that wall to the wall behind you, and
Did
it's
he-
all just records.
So he was just a consumer of music, or did he play music too?
He plays guitar, not well. Sorry,
cool.
Dad.
Yeah, sorry. I was gonna say.
But then he would play like harmonica and just like knows music.
Okay.
And then my sister played violin. I had like
Okay.
another sister that played piano, another sister that played cello.
Oh wow, so just
Yeah.
like a musical family.
What about you? Did you play an instrument?
No, I never did.
Because
I wish that's like one of my biggest regrets is
Ditto.
not. If I would have learned how to play anything, I wish I would have learned how to play piano.
I was gonna
just
say the
that-
same thing.
Like piano, you learn all the different chords, the keys. Like I feel like that's across the board the one that gets you most like musically inclined.
I have a different reason for why I wish I played piano.
Why?
Because I have this like fantasy of walking up to a piano just like in an open
Like a
room and just being
restaurant?
like being able to like peacock and be
Yeah.
like, oh, this whole thing, let me tickle
Wait,
your
peacock?
ivories.
Is that a term?
Yeah.
Peacock?
Yeah,
peacock?
You know?
No, to like peacock around.
Oh,
yeah.
oh, I
So-
thought you said-
no,
I thought she said
to flex.
Key cock.
Oh, no.
It was like a pun on a piano.
Oh
On a
no!
piano?
I wish I was quick enough to think of that. No, I would. No, I wish I could just like flex on everyone in a room. Be like,
Yeah.
oh, I knew piano as a kid, and just
People
like
start throwing money in the jar.
Just like drop a Billy Joel banger,
Yeah.
like in the middle of a room. And I always said before I had kids, I'm like, I am going to force my kids to play piano because I need to live through them. I haven't done it yet.
I'm about to start. That's literally what I was going to say.
Yeah.
I'm about to
Yeah.
channel all of my music regret and not learning something into my kids.
Yeah,
I'm
like
gonna get-
his regret for wanting to play piano is like actually like to musically understand the notes, and mine is like so I could like flex
Just
at
so
a
you can
party
flex.
like once every 5 years when there's
I just want to go to like the nicest restaurant, like one of those restaurants that has a piano. in the
yes,
middle
like a
of
piano
it.
bar. I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, I
Yeah.
can do this.
Char.
Yeah.
Like we'll just
Like
go have
walk
a
into
nice
Char.
dirty martini at Char, and
Yep.
then Joelle's just like,
Yeah, and I'll be like,
She just disappears for a second, and all of a sudden she's just playing piano.
Yep.
And he's like, "What the fuck is going on?"
yeah.
love that.
It's I literally
Okay.
fantasize
Let's
about
just
it.
now let's just channel all that into Olive.
Yeah, the only
Yes.
thing I know
Do
is
that.
Twinkle Twinkle Little Star. So,
Cute.
yeah.
Cute. I
But
have
yeah,
a really
I like growing up. I would have never thought that I would become a DJ.
yeah.
Like, I feel like every kid's dream is just like pro athlete.
Is that what you
And like
wanted?
I played quarterback in high school. Like I always was like, I am
school
gonna
quarterback.
go to the NFL. Like,
yeah.
and it's just like the biggest long shot in the world. But then obviously doesn't end up happening. And then I did like MMA fighting outside of it.
Ooh.
Was good at that. And then
I'm not gonna fuck
just
with
like
you.
never ended up going to a pro level. And
Wait.
that's my own fault. Like I realistically should have if I just would have kept training. But
That's not your
yeah.
fault. You just, if you wanted to do it, you would have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So did you like while you were quarterbacking in high school? Like, did you truly believe you were going to play in college and go to the NFL? Like, was that what?
I feel like I could have in the right. I mean, like I definitely could have played in college.
Okay.
Whether it's like D1 or not, that's
Yeah.
a different story. But like, yeah, I could have for sure played like D2, D3
Okay.
football. Like I am a good enough size, and I was good enough at
Wow.
playing quarterback. But when you move school 3 times in 4 years too, it's hard to like get yourself into a system where like coaches already know the players.
Yeah.
they
Like
have
are
their-
invested in your
Yeah.
story. Yeah, that
like
makes
have
sense.
the favorite players. It's like you're already fighting an uphill battle from there.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Interesting.
That's
okay.
cool. So I guess DJing wasn't necessarily in
No,
the cards in the beginning. So
I wish it was.
Yeah.
I would have been knowing way more than I know right now.
So, I feel like we need to backtrack again a little bit and just make you say what you're great at. Like we need to pull out your imposter real quick.
Yes.
And what are you great at, Declan O'Connell?
I feel like one thing I'm great at that Chris said, I'm great at sleeping, great at eating, love eating food.
Great.
I'm just great. I feel like I'm just great with people, just great being
Yeah.
around people.
Mm-hmm.
I'm great with getting in with like any environment, and just love being around people and having fun. So
Are there ever is there like a a personality trait or a type of person or a setting that you can't chameleon into?
I don't really think so.
I was going to
Really?
say if Andy and I, this isn't usually what the episode's about, but you really are like our third imposter.
Yeah,
like, 'cause
for sure.
Declan's
Yeah.
with us every episode now, but if we could give you what I think you're great at, I would say the same thing. Like, you're so even keeled.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't think you like get high and low, which is such a skill.
Are you on meds?
No.
That he's definitely
fuck?
not on meds. Like, I feel like you
Well, I
just
was, like,
nothing
hoping that
bothers
I'm like
you.
anti anything. Like I don't even like taking like
Advil.
yeah.
God, you're so Midwest. There's
Yeah.
like so many fascinating cultural, and I feel like I can say this because I grew up there, so I'm not
Yeah.
shitting on it. There's so many like cultural things about the Midwest that are fascinating, and that is one of them. Like all of my family and family members that grew up there are like, I don't need no ibuprofen, and I'm just like, just take ibuprofen, guys.
Yeah, like get rid of your headache.
Yeah.
But I also think I would agree, like you can talk to anyone
Yeah.
and you're just like, you could be in any setting. Like, I feel like nothing pisses you off.
But I kind of attest that to how I grew up. Like when you grow up and I was in one school in 8th grade, went to a different school my freshman year.
That's hard.
Went to a different school my sophomore year. Went to a different school my junior year.
Oh my God.
So I feel like me moving that much, and I talk about this all the time where it's like people are like, how are you so outgoing? How are you so good at talking to people? It's like, I was forced to.
Yeah.
Where like
At a tough time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or either you were or you weren't. Because it's like I had the option where it's like, okay, do I go and make friends or do I just go into a shell and just not meet anybody
Yeah.
after all these times moving? And it could have gone either way.
Did you make friends at every school?
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. And that's where it's like you could do it either way where you could end up not talking to anybody and then just turn into a completely different person.
Yeah, which happens.
yeah.
Yeah.
But like,
That's really
luckily,
admirable.
I feel like it's because of like having my brothers and sisters and being the youngest in my family where it's like you just kind of build a personality, and then going to all these different schools and having to meet all these different people just made me into an outgoing person that can get to know all these different people.
I think you've solidified yourself as being a guest again on our male friendship episode.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Like you do need to speak to male friendship because
Yeah.
what we learned in our female friendship episodes was that men really struggle, or their wives perceive that they are struggling. Their wives or partners perceive that they're struggling with friendship. And it would be so interesting to have this kind of perspective of like how you as a dude in the world make friends and how you did that as a kid and what you learned from that.
Well, how you did it as a kid, and you just moved here a year and a half ago.
True.
And you didn't have any friends here, right?
I had like two, like Darren that DJ's here, and then my buddy Diesel, who's also a DJ.
But you've made friends.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like that you've moved
Wow.
cities with no children.
Yeah.
In your 30s, which is easier. Like if you meet people through your kids. So that was kind of something we
Yeah.
talked about. So you would definitely be someone.
But I feel like I have like a cheat code too, where it's like if you have kids in school, you're gonna meet different parents and stuff. Being in the nightlife industry, like you run into people
That's
all
true.
the time.
Yeah.
Where it's literally it's almost cheating. Like
I don't know if it's cheating though, because it's like you run into people all the time, but you're not this like big clubby dude.
Yeah.
Like I feel like I could see you not like I don't want to say getting along, but just not jiving with some people who are in like heavily in the scene.
Yeah.
Cause you're kind of chill.
yeah, and I really don't go out. Like if I'm not DJing, I don't go out
Right.
that much.
Really?
I haven't drank in probably almost a month now.
Ooh.
Wow.
How do you feel?
Intentionally?
Yeah.
Wow.
I do it all the time, and there's really no like rhyme or reason for it, but I just will go on like spurts of a couple months of not drinking. And it's literally because I feel like I get out of shape being in the nightlife industry and
Yeah.
like drinking so much, and then you end up eating unhealthy
Of
and
course.
your sleeping habits are bad, where it's like when I moved to Nashville, I was 250 pounds. I got down to like 200 pounds, and then now I'm back up to like 220. And I'm like, all right, I got to reel this shit in.
And you feel like
And
drinking.
like, yeah,
Yeah.
like get back.
Well, drinking's just like such a catalyst.
Yeah, because then I
Yeah.
wake up and I'm like hungover. I don't want to go work out.
Yeah.
Do any of this shit. But yeah, I mean, I really don't like go out that much. So, and I'm not a person that's in the nightlife industry, like drinking and doing drugs. Like I don't do any.
That's
of
what
that
I mean.
kinda
That's
shit.
like
Yeah.
kind of what I was alluding
Yeah.
to.
Yeah.
Like those wouldn't be your people.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Well, and you work in an industry, like you're an extremely authentic person, and you work in an industry where I'm sure sometimes you are faced with people that are maybe less authentic because they're trying to build a specific brand or like archetype. So I guess like kudos to you for being able to navigate that as someone who seems like you really know yourself and, you know, are authentically DJ DEX.
We're giving you a lot of words of affirmation.
We are. Maybe you're going to leave this and be like, wait, my love language was words of affirmation.
Like I did actually really like that.
I need an aside, and we can cut this if it's too tangential here, but this whole like moving around thing fascinated me because in Nashville, there's this phenomenon where the public school system is not consistently good throughout the city. And there's a ton of private schools, but the private schools are expensive. They're hard to get into. A lot of them are extremely like Christian. So if you don't, you know, if you're Jewish or something else, that might be like not the path you want to take. And so there's kind of this schooling dilemma that every parent talks about here, which is like if your kid is in a public elementary school and they're like, well, what are you going to do when they need to go to the middle school, which the middle school is not like ranked well, or it's not a good school.
Yeah.
So are you going to make them go make new friends at a private school? And I've always felt like I'm not getting something in that argument because that's what everybody always brings up here. And I'm like, yeah, because I truly believe that like being a newcomer, as hard as it is, but like taking people and kids out of their comfort zone sometimes builds a tremendous amount of character and social muscle.
Yeah.
And
I
I
agree.
feel like are living proof of that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's how I would look at it. Like
Yeah.
I would want my kid to
You have to have transition
and
Yeah.
at some point.
you're just around diversity then because
Right.
if you're just around the same kids in the same school for 18 years of your life,
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, you're going to learn so much more if you surround yourself with other people. Being around
Totally.
a more diverse crowd, you're going to have different conversations.
Yeah.
You're going to learn different things about
Right.
somebody from a different ethnic background than you.
Yeah.
And so, yeah.
Yeah. And
I'm
I
always
just
on
feel
board
like
with that.
I feel like you're living proof of like kids are
Resilient.
resilient.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So as you know now, being an executive producer, EP, we love to hear about people's first or worst jobs. I'm particularly excited too because I feel like, again, I have such a Midwestern bias, but I feel like some of the jobs that come out of like the Midwest kids is like so fucking hilarious. So anyway, if you will indulge us in first and or worst job.
My first job was an awesome job. I worked at Subway. I was
No.
You made $5 footlongs?
I was a sandwich artist.
Sandwich artist.
Stop.
That's what they label you.
Yeah.
That's your position as a sandwich artist.
What was the most like commonly ordered? Was there like one sandwich like everyone ordered? All
cold cut combo, ham and cheese sandwich? Yeah.
Could you still get back and throw down?
Yeah, everything's just like you have like a menu behind the glass that
Yeah.
I feel like people don't see.
Oh my god,
But it's
Dex
like all
of
of it was the same.
Subway.
But I'm a meatball sub guy. I would literally eat meatball subs every day if I
From Subway too?
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Still love them.
Okay.
Do your clothes still smell like Subway after this
like
amount
the
of time?
bread, yeah.
Dude, and then if like I had a boyfriend in college who lived, his apartment building was above a
Above it,
Subway.
yeah.
Reeked
The
of it.
whole
Like seeps through it,
It was
yeah.
crazy. What did they do? Did they just spray like sub spray in the whole
It
block?
is the
radius?
Abercrombie.
Yeah.
Yes.
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 Same effect.
Yes.
Yeah, you leave just smelling like that.
Reeking.
For hours,
Yes.
Yeah.
But then, so I was always team Subway, and then a couple years ago, this was like either during COVID or like a year after. I went to Subway, got a meatball sub, got home, bit into it, and bit into a thumbtack
No.
in like my meatball sub. And I like took a video of it. Like I thought I was just chewing on like a hard part of a meatball. Like
Oh,
maybe
you
it got,
kept you kept chewing.
No, I like bit, and I was like, I thought I cracked my tooth. It was like that hard.
I don't even know how to react right now. I'm so disturbed.
I like
The fact
pulled
that,
it out of my
your
mouth.
faith in Subway though was just like, oh, it must have just been like a hard ass piece of
Yeah,
meatball.
like I was like, maybe
I
they
am
just
freaking
overcooked this
out.
meatball. Like, and I pull a thumbtack out of my mouth, and I'm like, what the
that could have
fuck?
punctured your lung.
Yes, if I would have like swallowed it or
Yes.
anything, yeah. I like blasted Subway on like Twitter, Instagram. They message us. They're like, "Oh my god, that shouldn't happen. Please send us a DM." And I like
Did
DM
you?
them, tell them what happened. They just never answered it.
No way.
And I'm like, how? I call back the place that I just ordered. They're like, "Oh yeah, we can. If you come back, we'll give you like a free sub." I'm
And then
like, "What the fuck?"
oh
Like,
my god.
I'm like, "That's what you guys are gonna offer me for?"
I would give you hush money to not sue me.
Yeah.
it's not like
that was my goal. But.
Yeah.
right. Yeah.
I was like, I'm going to own this Subway.
Yeah, it's not like Subway has like a phenomenal track record either.
Yeah.
We're like
them and Jared, so.
Right. That's right.
they've been going through a tough decade.
Wow.
But yeah.
Wow.
First job was Subway. My worst job that I've ever had, it was right after high school, or like while I was still in high school. I think it might have been like the summer of high school. One of my buddy's parents worked for this company, Well Trucking.
Okay.
And it was basically me and two of my other boys from high school. And we just would go around, just do all like the bitch work for the trucking company.
Ew.
Which like I never realized how gross truckers are until
Yeah.
I had that job.
I mean, I could have probably told you that.
Yeah, where like we would have to go like where they park
scared.
all the trucks.
I'm scared.
We'd have to go and like collect all the trash and do all that shit. And there would just be like trash with like bottles of piss,
Oh,
like
God.
magazines that are like stuck together. And I'm like,
no.
I'm gonna barf.
the worst job. It was so disgusting.
How long did you do it?
For literally like 3 months. There was like good parts of it too.
3 months?
They
Yeah, it was
better
like the
paid you
summer.
a lot of money.
Oh,
yeah,
it
it's
was
like a
it
summer
was
job.
really good money.
Okay.
Like, but
Yeah.
like there was good days too where it's like we would have to mow the lawn, so we'd just be on a riding tractor
Okay.
and just
Okay.
like whipping around on that, and then
Yeah.
just like get tan in the summer. But then you'd have the low days where it was just the lowest. And
Yeah.
I'm
I
like,
could never. I could think of so many other things I could do. Like
yeah.
I would
It
take like
gives me chills still now where I'm like, ugh.
I would have a full day of root canals over that. Like I could not do that. That's so gross.
I thought you were gonna say like you have to shower for a day after that.
No, I'm just
that's
trying
how
to
I
think of
feel.
like torturous things that I would rather do than
Yeah.
that. So Declan, you gave us so many. You started us off with your feelings on imposter syndrome and a story. So do you have can you think of a moment though where you've like felt like you conquered it? Like I have this imposter syndrome and I have this, whatever it is, this thing ahead of me from in the DJ world or whatever. I mean, whatever you want. I'm assuming it's going to be in the DJ world that you can share with us in the audience.
Yeah, I mean, I would think even as recent as like it's like a week and a half ago now. I just signed a contract to DJ exclusively with one company.
That's amazing.
What?
Yeah.
You're exclusive now?
Yeah.
What?
My
so-
hang tens.
Yeah. What does that mean?
The hang tens are back.
I mean,
yeah.
I want to say like, congrats. That's sick. And also, what does does that
awesome.
mean?
It's something that I never would have thought that like DJing would bring me.
Yeah.
Wow.
Like if you would have told me when I was 15 that you're gonna sign a contract to DJ
Is it at one venue or with one company?
with one company that does all like they have 10 different venues right now.
That's amazing.
Not just in Nashville, so they have locations like Arizona, New York, Chicago.
Wait, are you gonna start
Florida.
traveling?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
So that's where like
Oh.
once I got that offer and like the first time that they even reached out to me, they're like, "Hey, we want you to DJ exclusively for us." And I was like, "Holy shit."
I can't believe you didn't tell us
Wow.
that.
Yeah.
Were you saving it for the show? Like
No,
I was?
I haven't really told anyone. I mean, Maddie knows and my parents know. And,
Aw, and
her parents.
now the great imposters know.
Yeah.
That's so awesome, Declan.
but yeah,
That's
that
amazing.
would
We're
be
proud
that
of you.
moment. Yeah.
That's so cool. I love that you're like fresh off of that too.
Yeah.
Like it's like,
I like just signed it a week and a half ago.
that's awesome.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah.
When's your first like gig with this?
So like I DJ'd last weekend.
Yeah.
But
With
yeah,
them.
then it just
Okay.
they're like setting up my whole new schedule now, just being with them.
How nice is that like you have someone to set your schedule up for you now? It's
awesome.
Like you don't have to like
you
do the outreach anymore, right?
Well, no, because I wasn't doing that. Nashville is like the only city where it is like that.
Okay.
Well, I mean, other cities are too, but Nashville is very different in a way of like in Milwaukee, I was booking all my own stuff. Like I would reach out to venues, reach out to management, reach out to owners, do all the booking yourself. Here they have a lot of different agencies. The main one is who runs like Whiskey Jam is Jam Factory. And they do the booking for like all the bands and DJs basically in the majority of the spots in Nashville.
Got
Okay.
it.
So it's like I never would have to do anything. It just like pops through an email and they're like, "Hey, you're scheduled at 12:30 Club at this time," or "Hey, you're scheduled at Whiskey Row or Barstool or wherever."
Yeah.
And it's
Wait, do
like,
you ever
don't
do
have to
12:30
anything.
club? Oh my God.
Love 1230 Club.
The Supper Club is my favorite restaurant
That's
in
one
Nashville.
of my favorite spots to DJ.
But on this first floor or second floor?
No, they have DJs
the
on the
rooftop. That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Wait,
They do
what?
band.
Yeah.
They do bands
So
on the
on
first
the second floor where you eat dinner,
Yeah.
there's the rooftop is on that floor. It's like
Do you
a
have to be
patio.
special to get up there?
No, it's on the same level. You just walk out.
Oh.
Because
It's
the
awesome.
honky tonk's on the first floor.
Yep.
Right.
The restaurant's on the second floor.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. I just love like the bar area downstairs.
Yeah.
That's where I often go and request Usher. So
Going.
wow. Okay, are you gonna invite Joelle and I one night to come party at a DJ DEX?
You guys can come whenever you guys want.
Okay, but I want to be my love language.
You want to
is-
be formally invited.
Yeah, my love language is words of affirmation. So
Yeah.
I would like a written text that's like, "Hey guys, I'm DJing here. You should bring your friends."
Yes.
What time do you start though?
Oh, right.
It's different. I mean, some weekends it's like a 10:30 to
I'm
bar close.
gonna
Okay,
have
your
to. I'll be out.
earliest start time.
Do you do brunches?
I DJ Sundays a lot, where it's like Sunday I'm there from 4 to 7.
Love that.
Oh,
we can do
yeah.
that.
Please tell
We'll
us
do-
next time.
Yeah.
We're gonna do a Sunday.
Okay.
Sunday fun day.
Wait, okay, now it's clicking though to me, this as an aside. You were a bartender for a while. Can you make a mean cocktail?
I probably could.
Okay.
Wow. Good to know.
I might need to remember, but yeah, I mean, if I'm making mixers, my pour hand is still strong, you know.
Okay.
Nice.
Yeah.
Interesting. So I know you're not drinking right now, but when you do drink, what's your drink?
High noon.
What? Oh, like the seltzer? Okay.
I drink that or vodka waters.
Okay.
Yeah.
Which high noon flavor is your favorite?
Peach.
Peach is good.
I love that one.
I like watermelon too, though.
Like if I could have an endorsement deal with any alcoholic beverage,
It would be a high noon.
100%. Yeah.
All right. So this is one of our favorite questions also to ask people, especially if it's people that like we already know, because it's so it's just not a question you like ask your friends often. It's fun to find out. If you had no boundaries, so money, time, none of that was an issue.
Let's also say you graduated from school. Like school's over.
School's over, so you don't have to worry about school. What would you do?
Starting my own business for sure.
Okay.
I would have, and that's something that I'm actually looking at doing right now. But obviously, if money wasn't an option, it would have been done already.
Sure.
Yeah. Of just finding like an all-purpose studio that I feel like Nashville could use, where you can have a recording studio, a photo studio, a podcast studio, a DJ and music production studio all in one. That's what I would do.
It would be a no-brainer here.
Yeah. Because there's so many artists and like even just people from different venues where it's like they go to do photo shoots for the venues and they have to go and like rent out different venues every time they do a photo shoot, where it's like you just have one spot where everybody can come and do their stuff, or artists need to get album work done and need to get photography done for album covers. It's like, cool, they can come in here and do that. But also like, hey, they have a podcast, they want to record it too. They can do it all in the same building. Or if they have a song that they want to record, you got a studio right in there too. So
That's cool. It's like really speaking to the multifaceted artist, whatever that means, or person who wants to kind of. I think it's nice. The idea of having it all in one place is really cool.
yeah, I feel like
And we will definitely be recording there one day.
I feel like promo wise, like there's so many people that wanted, they kind of have to dip their hands into everything the way that social media is and everything right now. Like you can't just be an artist. You still have to do so much more on like the promo side of things. You got to be present on TikTok and Instagram and all this kind of stuff, and have new press kit photos taken every quarter or whatever else you're going to do, just to kind of stay relevant in people's heads and on their phones or wherever they're browsing, so that way they do come across you and see you. So being able to put it all in one spot would be awesome too. And then as far as like artist or whoever your clientele is going to be, they're not paying one person this and one person this and one person this and having to go to 4 different spots and pay 4 different times at probably a higher rate than you could if you just like package it all together in one spot too.
That's a good model. I like that.
Yeah.
It's pretty genius.
We're
We're gonna do it. We're manifesting it. You're gonna do
Totally.
it.
And I love that your kind of like dream big answer to the question is something that's already kind of in motion for you. It's just more about the timing.
Yeah, I would love to get it done sooner rather than
Sure.
later. But yeah,
That's awesome.
Hopefully soon.
We are big supporters.
Yeah.
We are.
Well, this has been a fabulous episode. I love having DJ DEX on. This is awesome. What we want to leave, I guess, the audience with is what we ask all of our guests at the end. If you had any advice for like a young DJ or anyone who's struggling with imposter syndrome right now, because you've really overcome and still deal with a lot of it now, what would you say to that person listening?
If I'm basing it off of like DJing specifically, it's so hard because I feel like no matter who you are, you're always going to have some sort of, whether it's subconsciously or whatever it's going to be, you're always going to think this person's better or I can be better in whatever way. I think it's just being able to look at yourself and the position that you're in, seeing the gigs that you're getting, seeing the work that you're putting out. And if you yourself think that it's good and you're getting the job done, you're getting your bills paid, you're happy with what you're doing, then that's what it ultimately like boils down to.
Yeah.
Not caring so much about like, oh, I think that this person is more successful than me, I need to be like them. Comparison
is the thief of joy.
Yes. I think it's is it Rick Rubin who's the famous music producer? Does that sound right?
he does a lot of like music production stuff, but I don't even think he like has ever actually played instruments, but he produces for everyone.
Yeah, and I think
just has an ear for it.
Like, he's older, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was him. I was watching an interview with him, and he said kind of something that you just said, like, get to a place in your life where you're putting an art, because DJing is an art. You're putting your art out because you're proud of it, not because you give a shit what anyone else thinks.
Yeah.
It was kind of what he said about how he approaches producing.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like I love that. Like, do it, get to a place where you can do it for you.
Yeah. I would say like, don't be scared to put stuff out either, because
yes,
I feel like so many people get trapped where they're like, oh, this isn't good enough. Like I can't put this out yet. Mm-hmm. And especially in the music world and how it is right now, where it's like, all it takes is one video, one clip, whatever it's going to be, where it's like, it just takes the right person hearing your song or hearing you play a set where they're like, oh, this was dope. Like, we need to sign this person, or we need to get this song. And it just, if you never put it out because you're too scared and you don't think that it's good enough and you have that imposter syndrome going on, you'll never know. Just do it.
Declan, that's so good that you said that. And it just is kind of the entire reason we started this podcast. Like,
yes,
it took Annie and I still am so grateful to this day that I was like, Annie, will you do this podcast with me? Because it would have been so much easier to just continue on with life and have never done this.
Yeah.
And never put it out and never actually like put the wheels in motion, but we did. And like, we're just having so much fun with it. And the audience that we have amassed so far has been so humbling and amazing. And finding Declan, and like, that's a very full circle comment to make to close the show, because you know, you don't know what's going to happen unless you try.
Yeah.
And put yourself out there.
Shoot your shot, y'all.
Shoot your motherfucking shot.
That's right.
Right.
All right. This has been Annie.
This has been Joelle.
This has been Dex.
And we'll catch y'all next time.